Hello, Sharif here. And today we're going to be taking a look at um, some of our culture wars and how international politics um, flows into our local politics, which flows into how we get along with each other, and what is our solution? What is the common way solution for uh, getting past all this stuff? I'm going to do all that in 30 minutes. Um, so, what we're going to do right now, though, to get ourselves in the focus of it, is to do our normal meditation, um, or maybe an abnormal meditation. I don't know. But we're setting our timer for 5 minutes. I'm inviting you to close your eyes if you wish to do so. If you wish to leave your eyes open, you can. I'm putting a candle up so that you can use that as a focus, not necessarily me. Um, and I'm also putting up our global meditation ticker, inviting you to take a deep breath. Another one, a deep breath in, and let it go. Another deep breath in, let it go audibly. Okay, if you would like to, if you can come back to our center, and we will begin. Um, we'll begin by putting on our glasses so that we can see. I did a workshop today with Donna Beagle, and you've known I've known Donna for a long time, and I've worked with Donna for a long time. And this is one of her poverty institutes. And I was talking about, I did my normal workshop with her, which is on deep identity and deep conflict. But I was thinking about how pointed that is now, given the situation that's happening with um, the presidents at Stanford and at Harvard and a couple of other of the big institutions coming under the gun for remarks that they said to Congress, and there are folks who are ready and willing and able to throw them under the bus because they said the wrong thing. They said something that was that some people didn't like. Now, I'm very careful not to look at the statements because I don't want to be influenced by the statements one way or another. The bottom line isn't what they said. The bottom line is, how do you handle the problem? How do you, if someone makes a mistake, how do you handle that mistake? Well, in one way of looking at our societal problems, you execute that person. You do a public flogging, and you you do everything that you possibly can do to hurt that person, because if you believe in a world of hurt, that hurting someone, ostracizing someone, um, publicly executing someone makes the world a better place, then that's what you do, and you go back. You go to your core beliefs. I happen to believe that that's not the way that the world works. It's not the way the world should work. I've not seen any situation where through the public execution things get better. And I'm not talking about the most egregious cases, like, for example, in the Me Too realm. I'm not talking about um, the Weinsteins and the Cosbys. Okay, people who committed clear crimes. They should have known that they were crimes. I don't know what kind of parentage they had, but they should have known what they were doing was wrong. And you should pay the price for your wrong action. I'm talking about the larger sense of things, and where you're in a world filled with gray, filled with, we're not quite sure how to go through this, how to deal with this. And so what happens is that people freeze up. They stop talking. They put on this vacant smile. They actually make their eyes go blank, like, I'm not really looking at you anymore. And they have this smile on their face, and I'm not going to engage, because not engaging is the best policy. and it's not the best policy by a long shot. It causes many more problems than what we've got. So let's talk a bit about the problem. Some of you have seen these slides before. I invite you to look again. And some of you have never seen these slides, and so I'm going to invite you to look. Okay, so my starting question is, what is the problem? What is the problem that we're trying to solve? If you don't understand the problem, you are going to be putting out ideas and putting out theoretical solutions that don't solve anything. The problem is far larger than climate change. And there's some people around the world, especially in this country, that want us to believe that climate change is the absolute worst possible thing that could possibly happen. And they've got all of the different climate change scenarios. I am not a denier. Yes, climate change is real, and we're watching it happen in our lives in real time. And that's not the biggest problem that we've got, nor is racism, sexism, homophobia, all of our social issues. That's not the biggest problem that we've got, nor is COVID, nor is our political malaise in this country, and nor is any of that other stuff. So what is the problem? For those of you who have seen me talk about this, you know I went to Clark University, and Clark University is very big on psychology. I got my degree in psychology. And at the time, that meant studying rats. And one of the things about rats, if you put two rats in a sizable enough cage and give them plenty of water and plenty of food, the rats will cohabit with each other. They won't, they won't cause any problems with each other. So in this experiment that we did, and I think that they don't allow this experiment anymore, if it's a metal cage, we would send a mild electric shock through the floor of the cage so that the rats are in pain, but it doesn't cause them any damage. So as soon as the rats are that feel the electric shock, they immediately attack each other. All the rat knows, it doesn't know anything about electricity, it doesn't know anything about metal cages. All it knows is, I'm in pain, and there's another rat. That rat must in some way be causing my pain. And so they attack each other, and will attack each other until death. They will kill each other because of this situation that neither one of them has caused. So let's color one of these rats white and color the other one black. And we stand outside the cage and say, oh, look, white rats and black rats can't get along with each other. Maybe these are racist rats. Maybe black rats can't get along with other rats. Maybe we need to have special programs for these rats. But no one is looking at the fact that they are experiencing an invisible pain. Let's make these humans now. And at some point in time, we need to ask the question, what is the energy? What is the the power? What is the shock that's going through the floor of our cage that's making us attack each other? If we don't ask the question, we'll say, oh, Israelis and Palestinians can't get along with each other. And we started looking at all of this past history of what happened in 1948, and what about the British Mandate, and how does the Holocaust fit into this, and all of that misses the point. The point is, what is the nature of the shock, the electrical shock that's going through the floor of all of our cages? Can we be smarter than those rats? Can we not buy into all of the divisive energy that we're experiencing now? Can we be smarter than the rats and start asking the question, what is it that we are experiencing? What is it that is running through all of our societies? The situation in Israel Palestine is on our because of the bombings, etc., because of the hostage situation. It's front and center on our global consciousness right now. But there are hundreds, there are thousands of other conflicts going on, all of them having the same root, all of them having the same problem, being fed by the same energy. That what we have to do is start looking at and looking for another way to deal with things. I've been doing this. I've been looking for this other way. I've been articulating this other way for somewhere around 40 years. Now, it makes it difficult to keep trying to say it in a fresh way, keep trying to say it in a better way, keep trying to say it in such a way that you will actually, you and all of the yous out there will actually pay attention, and you will decide to do some things differently. I'm not calling for you to do a vigil and pray for peace or anything like that. There are specific things that we can do that will change this scenario, but it's going to require that you do some thinking. It's going to require that you do some changing. It's going to require that you do some connecting with people that you'd rather not connect with. It's going to require that you start doing some things that, because they haven't been sanctioned by this group or that group, are going to look a bit oddball and going to look a bit difficult. And you should do it. It's going to be good for all of us to do it. And the more of us that start doing this, the easier it will be for all of us. So let's take a look at some of the things that I am suggesting that we look at in order to get past all of this, what I call the political correctness, and start getting into learning how to have honest communications with each other, learning how to have deep communications with each other, learning how to have authentic communications with each other. If I knew I was going to talk about it, I would have saved the picture and I would post the picture for you. But I think this is in Facebook or something. But it's a picture of a couple of monkeys, and there were a bunch of baby monkeys that were being shepherded by these two adult monkeys. And you look at it, and it takes you about 5 seconds to see, oh, this is AI. Because AI has no idea, it's not intelligent at all. This is not how monkeys behave. I can tell you, if I could pick it apart for you, but I'll let you do that on your own. So there's someone who does this, tells the AI um, to create this picture and say, "Oh, look, these monkeys are doing such and such," and they're not. It's a lie. It's deceptive in that if they just said, "Oh, here's this AI picture. This is AI's rendition of what monkeys could look like," then be honest about it. Be honest that it's not a picture of monkeys. If you're on Facebook, you've probably seen this quote that's attributed to Albert Einstein, that Albert Einstein would never, ever in a million years have said. It's not his um, persona, it's not his behavior. If you think that Albert Einstein said it, you've never, ever read a single sentence by Albert Einstein. But we get to that point because we have forgotten how to be honest with each other. We have forgotten how to be deep with each other, how to have a deep conversation. We've forgotten how to be authentic with each other. Authentic means being true to your values, true to who you are. True to who you are, meaning if I put something up in front of you and say, "This is the truth," you better believe that I believe that this is the truth. I'm not going, there's no reason to lie to you. Actually, and I'm going to get through some of these behaviors that I'm going to recommend to you. But someone said to me early, 30, 40 years or so ago, that anyone you lie to is your God because you put that person or that situation higher than the truth. And as soon as I said that, I say, okay, I'm not lying anymore. I don't think any person or any situation is worth my relationship with the truth, is worth my relationship to you, my relationship to any other living being. Now, do I lie to inanimate objects? Sure, why not? Um, um, what the Buddha said, and by extrapolation, what Jesus, Rumi, and everybody else says, is that your duty is to sentient beings, beings that can sense things, that have the ability to understand, and that that ain't AI. It's not your phone. It's not a corporation. It's a human being or another living being. So let's go through the steps that you can take if you want your communications to be honest and deep and authentic. And where am I? Let's make this a little bit bigger. So boundaries don't have to be barriers. Just because you have a boundary doesn't mean that you're closing everybody out. I recognize when I close that door, um, uh, everybody that's inside is someone I've invited to be in my space, and everybody that's outside is somebody that's I haven't invited to my space. Doesn't mean I don't like them, doesn't mean I hate them, doesn't mean I want to stay away from them forever. It just means that this is a boundary between my personal life and my public life. You're going to get things wrong, so you might as well relax. one of the falsehoods of political correctness is that we believe that everything can be we can be perfect at all times, and so and if you can't be perfect, then don't say anything, freeze up, and say, yeah, relax. You're going to get it wrong at times, so you might as well relax into it. Um, you may be misunderstood even when you get it right. And if we had a couple of hours, I'd give you plenty of examples from around the world how I got things wrong. Um, I can give you examples from around the world how I got things right and I was still misunderstood. It's okay. Learn how to apologize. No one gets it right all the time. In fact, there is no right. Right is a situation. Let me give you a really quick example of that. I was in Sri Lanka working with Sarvodaya, and Sarvodaya is an organization that is based on Buddhist and Gandhian principles, although it is an inter-religious and inter-ethnic organization. So in the organization, there are Muslims, there are Christians, there are Buddhists, there's everybody, Hindus. Um, and there was a Muslim women's group that was meeting at the Sarvodaya headquarters, and they wanted to meet me. I'm the the resident foreigner, so they wanted to say hello to me. So they were all lined up, and all of them, most of them, were from Indonesia and Malaysia. In Indonesia and Malaysia, there's no particular barrier to men and women communicating and men and women actually touching each other. So I've got this kind of receiving line of these 30 women, and they're telling me where they're from and their names, and I'm shaking their hands, and I'm forgetting their names as soon as I learn it. And so I'm shaking hands, I'm shaking hands, I'm shaking hands. And about 20 women into the the group, I go to reach out for this woman's hand, and she basically screams. And she screams, "I'm a Muslim woman. You can't touch me." And I'm like, well, um, this particular woman was from Iran. If I knew there was an Iranian woman in the group, I would have been more circumspect in terms of handshaking. But um, given the fact that the prior 20 women had shaken my hand, I'm not saying that she should have shaken my hand, but there should have been a way that she could have handled that without yelling, screaming, and trying to make me wrong. Um, and so that was, I'm not sure where the failure was. I'll take some responsibility for the failure, but I'm not going to make the other 29 women in this group wrong, that they were doing the wrong thing, or that I was doing the wrong thing, or that a wrong thing was being done. Okay. So there is no right. No one gets it right all the time. Our goals should be that we're going to increase the likelihood that you're going to get it right in intercultural situations. Now, getting someone fired, throwing them under the bus doesn't change the dynamic of what happens in intercultural situations. That should be reserved in the most egregious situation, where someone ought to know better than, um, again, I call it the Weinstein Cosby connection. You should know better than to do something like that, and therefore you should face all of the consequences that come from that. So our goal is to increase the likelihood that everyone's going to get it right when there are intercultural situations. You're going to increase the likelihood that you are going to understand. You're going to increase the likelihood that you will be understood. And you want to minimize the dangers of when you get it wrong. Learn how to say, I'm sorry. Learn how to smile. Learn how to ask, how do you think this situation should be handled? Okay. And hopefully, all that happens can be a learning situation for everybody concerned. So moving beyond politically correct speech means that we go into honest communications. No superficiality, no freezing up, no going numb, no going bland. No. I see people coming toward me on the street. I know they can see me. I'm the only person on the street. And when I get close enough to make eye contact, they find something really interesting on the wall away from me, okay, or on the ground, they're looking down. And this is, I think, highly inauthentic. And we need to be looking at what can happen that's going to increase our authenticity. All of us are learning. All of us are supposed to be learning. We should be committed to continuous learning. Okay, since I'm running over a little bit, I'll tell you a funny story, and then I'm going to wrap up. This happened just a couple of years ago. I was doing some consulting work at one of my favorite places on earth, and I'm not saying that lightly, which is Brighton Bush Hot Springs near central Oregon. And been going to Brighton Bush for years and years. And I was asked to do some consulting work. And this is for their staff. So Brighton Bush is clothing optional for their pools and their hot tubs. If you want to wear a swimsuit in there, you're welcome to do so. If you don't want to wear a swimsuit in there, you're welcome not to do so. But in the public places, in the lodges, where you're eating your food, etc., you got to wear clothes. So I'm sitting there. I'm getting that we're meeting in their big meeting room, and as we're filing in, I'm setting up my projector, etc. And one of the people, the men that walks in completely naked, nothing on. Sits down on the floor directly opposite me in this circle of 30 people, and sits in a lotus position. So there's no question about what's going on. And I'm saying to myself, oh, no, you don't. But I'm going to handle this very skillfully, I thought. So I said, let's introduce ourselves. Let's go around the room. And this is going to give me a chance to figure out what I'm going to say to him. And so he gives his name. And I said, excuse me, but, we need you to get some clothes on. This is in a public area that's not near the pool, so you can find a way to get some clothes on. And he says, no, I don't. I don't have to have any clothes on. This is a closed camp. There's nobody in the public here. I can be nude anywhere I want to be in this camp. And I want to be nude right here, right now. And I start looking around the room at everybody else, and they're like, well, he's right. I mean, he has the right to be nude right here, right now. Okay. So back to my list of points here. I had not examined how I felt about that. Like I said, I've been nude in the pools, but just kind of walking into a room where kind of everybody's there and letting it all hang out. This was a teaching moment for me. And I stopped the proceedings and I said, this is a teaching moment for me. Let's start examining this using the process that I teach, but not using the process on you. It's using the process on me. I'm the one that's having an issue right now. And we spent about a half an hour going around talking about it, talking about what my expectations were coming in, etc. Talking about he has a spiritual notion that all of us should be nude, and so he practices that as often as he can. But he admitted that he does it for the shock value. He waited until I was right about to start the session so that he could have the kind of maximum head value, etc. And he and I continue to have conversations around this, not with the group, but I learned a lot in this situation. Now, I could have just condemned him, or I could have just gone blank, like, I don't know, I don't see anything, I don't know anything, I'm just gonna ignore it, I'm gonna keep going. And if I had done that, I would not have learned. He would not have learned. No one in the room would have learned. And so if our goal is for us to come together, our goal is for us to increase the likelihood that I'm going to understand, increase the likelihood that I'm going to be understood, then we did that. We made that connection. And it's interesting that I've actually seen him in and around Portland several times. He always identifies himself because I have difficulty identifying him with his clothes on. But yeah, we've been so it's kind of an ongoing lesson. A lesson that you can't get when you're busy trying to shut people down, when you're busy trying to make someone wrong or bad or evil or whatever. As I've said this 3 times now, there are situations where the behavior needs to be shut down. But I think that the overwhelming 90% of the behavior really should be, we need to learn from each other. And in learning, we can make connections with each other that I think are going to be valuable. Okay. Our next session will be on Thursday. If you have any questions about what I said or have a comment, etc., you can leave those for me at mail at commonway.org. There is, thought I had another slide here. Oh, I've talked about um, doing the bundling, creating a world that works for all, and the um, birthing the nation of Gaia. Bundling the two books together. If you are on the Common Way mailing list, you've got a mailing coming out to you in 5 minutes. We'll talk about all that. If you're not on the Common Way mailing list, I would suggest you get on and find out how you can get the discount for that, how you can get the access to the video archive, how you can get access to a lot of stuff. Okay, I look forward to seeing you, talking to you at on Thursday. And as usual, may all beings be well. May all beings be secure. May all beings be happy. Look forward to talking to you on Thursday.